everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all keeping well. I am so happy, I'm so excited. On filming this video, we have reached 300 subscribers. 300! Yay! I'm so happy. Look, I cannot thank you all enough. It means the absolute world. You are all bloody amazing. So 300 subscribers, yay! Let's keep this channel growing. So, I'm so happy. I'm really happy. Thank you so much. You have made this old girl very happy. Anyway, last week I finished off the reign of King Henry II and the video which was called The Brothers at War. And if you haven't seen that yet, I will link that somewhere for you to go and find. But for this week, I think it's time we did a video on Henry the Young King. And if you want to find out more about Henry the Young King, you know exactly what to do. Stay where you are. Don't move. I saw that. Henry was born on the 28th of February 1155 and he was the second son born to King Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine. Henry's older brother William had died in 1156, aged only 3 years old. Henry was now the eldest son and he was heir apparent to the Angevin Empire. In 1160, when Henry had turned 5, he was married to King Louis's 2-year-old daughter, Margaret, and it was rumoured that they both cried throughout the whole ceremony. When Henry reached the age of 7, he was entered into the household of Thomas Becket to receive his education. But when Thomas's and his father's friendship completely exploded, he was quickly pulled out by his father. In 1170, when Henry was 15, he was crowned as co-king in Westminster Abbey. The young king, he was already tall and handsome, and being the eldest surviving son of the King of England, he stood to inherit medieval's Europe's most powerful realm, the Angevin Empire. Although the young king had received the sacred ritual of a coronation, becoming king in name, that was all he was, just a king in name. He had all the titles, all the money a young man his age could wish for. And he was receiving a lot of pocket money. But young Henry was denied any real power. He was crowned during the lifetime of his forever overbearing, controlling father, who was hoping of securing a peaceful succession, and young Henry was simply told to be patient and wait, your time will come. So just continue serving as a associate monarch. So King Henry II, or the Old King as he was becoming known, had stubbornly refused to give his son and heir any real power, only titles. He wasn't even allowed to control Normandy or Anjou, although he was Duke and Count to both of them. Through this, though, he wasn't given any real military experience to become a leader in the future. Although the young king was seen as feckless, shallow, vain, careless, incompetent, irresponsible, and extravagant playboy, he was simply denied any real chance to rule in his own right. In 1170, the young king was given, was given a new tutor in arms, William Marshall. Marshall was possessed with extraordinary physical endurance and vitality. He was a gifted horseman and he was built for war. He was built like a brick house, basically. I don't know what it is, but there you go. Marshall was a household knight serving in Eleanor of Aquitaine's retinue. And William had quickly developed a warm friendship with Henry, and William would become the young king's close confidant. In early 1173, Henry the young king had turned 18. He was married to King Louis's daughter, Princess Margaret. The young king was tall, blonde, and handsome. He was a very skilled horseman, much like his father. But Henry was still extremely limited to any real power. The young Henry loved living a lavish lifestyle, and as a result, he was heavily in debt. Henry's youngest brother, John, who had just turned 6, he was getting married, and King Henry wanted to give John a wedding gift of 3 castles. Now, the castles themselves aren't overly important. It was where they were that mattered. They were in Anjou, the land that was supposed to be Henry's. They were his rightful inheritance, which he now felt he was being denied. Henry, he was furious with his father, and he left. He went to his father-in-law, King Louis's court in France, where the rebellion began, the war without love. Old King Henry had won the war without love against his rebellious sons, and things just seemed to go on as they were. I have done a video on the war without love, and I will link that for you to watch, just in case you haven't seen that one yet. And during the 1170s, Western Europe was in the craze of knightly tournaments. And for now, young Henry had accepted that he just needs to be patient for his turn to take over from his father. So in the meantime, he's going to have some fun. Henry builds up his own tournament team, and he wants his team to be the best. So naturally, he only recruits the best. He pays them 20 shillings a day, and that was a lot of money in the 12th century. Now, among Henry's team is himself, naturally, as the leader, of course, his brother Geoffrey, and they loved all the attention and showing off their shiny armor. And William Marshall was also on their team, who was already making a name for himself as a brilliant knight. Now, jousting tournaments were very different to those in the 14th and 15th centuries. They were incredibly dangerous and chaotic, large-scale war games played by teams of mounted knights across territory often 30 miles wide or more. They weren't using blunt weaponry either. It was the real deal. They relied heavily on their armor to protect them from injury. And the greatest danger came from being unhorsed and trampled on. The great value of attending those events was that they gave the noblemen the perfect opportunity to demonstrate their knightly qualities to their peers. It was a quick way to get rich, and it gave the knights a chance to train for war. Henry the young king had spent around 4 years on the tournament field, and he was quite successful. In 1177, Henry and Margaret had a son who they named William. But William was born premature, and sadly he died shortly after. On the 1st of November 1179, King Louis VII's son and heir, Philip, was crowned as co-king. Old King Henry got his eldest son to represent the Angevin house. Young Henry went to Reims, I really hope I pronounced that right, in France, and William Marshal had joined him. Young Henry had a starring role in the coronation. He carried Philip's crown after the ceremony and feasting, moving east to Paris for the coronation celebrations, which was a great jousting tournament. And there was around 3,000 participants, and young Henry, Geoffrey, and William Marshal revelled in the glorious festival of pageantry. Now, rumours were spreading in 1182 that one of Henry's warriors was bedding his wife, Queen Margaret, and the man accused was none other than William Marshal. Now, there's nothing to say that Henry believed the allegations, but Henry didn't serve any harsh punishments except exile. William Marshal was banished from court. In 1183, young Henry began a second rebellion against his father. He was without his knight and advisor by his side, and subsequently the rebellion didn't go his way. The young Henry was fighting the combined force of the old king and his brother Richard the Lionheart. Young Henry had called for William Marshal to be back by his side. William Marshal arrived just as Henry fell ill with dysentery. Henry, the young king, had wrote to his father pleading for him to be by his side. But the old King Henry was advised not to go in fear of it being a trap. But it wasn't a trap. The young king died on the 11th of June, 1183, aged 28. Young King Henry was often seen as arrogant, spoilt, and quite glib. After his death, a heartfelt memorial was offered, not by his father, but by the young king's own chaplain, who wrote, quote, "It was a blow to all chivalry when he passed away in the fairy glow of youth. When Henry died, heaven was hungry, so all the world went begging." And there we are. There's the story of Henry the young king. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if? Again, there's that word, what if? What would have happened if Henry had survived and he would have become Henry III? So things, it makes you wonder how that would have turned out. Would Richard the Lionheart still have become king? Would John still have become king? We don't know. And there we are. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching and joining, and just thank you for being you. Thank you. Just keep on subscribing, keep watching, keep liking, keep sharing, keep doing all the amazing stuff, because you're all bloody brilliant, and keep being you, keep being wonderful. And until next time, thank you very much. Take care. Look after yourselves. Bye.